but I've never allowed my fear to limit me. I'll figure out how to get past it. I think the thing that you should be afraid of most would probably be being alone. And I've been on my own since I can remember. I got past that point, as a child. So everything else that came was smaller than the loss of my mom.
Curtis Jackson's story starts in South Jamaica, Queens, one of the most dangerous corners of New York in the late 80s and early 90s. His mother, Sabrina, was just 15 when she had him. She was a hustler running her own game. But by the time Curtis was 8, she was gone, murdered in a drug war. He was left to navigate a world where fear could get you killed.
I didn't communicate well with the loss of my mom. I actually never really spoke to anybody about it. She was everything. She was like my mother, my father. Everything, and then when, my grandparents always took care of me, my grandmother, she did everything she could do for me.
Growing up, he learned 2 rules: trust no one and always be ready for war. At 12, he was already on the streets. By 15, he was running his own crew. Music wasn't the dream. Survival was. In 2000, everything almost ended. Outside his grandmother's house in Queens, 50 Cent was ambushed and shot 9 times point blank.
Right behind me is my grandmother's home. I came out 12 o'clock in the afternoon, May 24th. She was bent over, actually planting flowers in the garden, and I walked over here to sit in the actual vehicle that my friend was waiting for me in, and the car pulled up. On the side of us, a guy got out the passenger seat of that car, came around behind it, and shot through the actual car.
1 bullet went through his face, shattering his jaw. Another tore into his hand. People thought it was over. Even the label dropped him. But the bullets didn't just scar him. They sharpened him. While recovering, 50 Cent turned his pain into power. He trained, wrote, and rebuilt himself mentally and physically. He called it a rebirth. And as the industry watched him climb back with an army of street anthems, they saw a man who wasn't just hungry, he was bulletproof. Before 50 Cent ever had a record deal, he already had enemies, real ones, and one of the most feared was Kenneth Supreme McGriff. Supreme wasn't a rapper. He was a drug lord, deeply connected to Murder Inc. and the streets of Queens. In 2000, 50 released a track called Ghetto Quran, a lyrical map of the drug game in New York. He named names, including Supreme's.
For you slow motherfuckers, I'ma break it down illa. Supreme was the businessman and Prince was the killer.
In the streets, that was a death sentence. A few weeks later, May 24, 2050 Cent was shot 9 times outside his grandmother's house. Officially, no one was charged, but every whisper said the same name, Supreme. Even the NYPD suspected it. That shooting didn't just shape 50's body, it shaped his entire strategy. From that point on, war wasn't about emotion, it was about precision.
And I'm gonna tell you a story, and it's on my dead father. Preem came to the block, dark skin with green eyes, and he had respect. Preem, dude, you know the old school shit. Tried to palm Fifth head. You know what 50 did? Yeah, man.
Do it back, yeah.
Man. Oh, you know what the block did?
Yeah, that's what
Nah, Preem, you could tell Preem ain't like that.
And that's where it started.
This is made man.
Why he thought he could palm your head though? What kind of was that?
He tried to big homie and on some my little man type. So for 50 grab it back, you know what I'm saying? Cool, was no big.
It was wild.
That's when I knew 50 didn't give a
His first target, Ja Rule and Murder Inc. At the time, they dominated the charts.
When I see the things that he does, and he did the herb smoking, I'm like,
How did you feel about that when you saw it?
Of course, nobody likes all this goofy shit, but it's goofy shit. Cause I was hot, you know what I'm saying? I was hot. I was ready to go nuclear and shit. But I say, so I spoke to him anyway, and Prince said, he said, Rule. He said, here's what you gotta understand about who we are and what we do. He said, we are masters of self-defense. I said, cause I don't want to start trouble, make trouble with people. But if we gotta get into it, make it, I'll fucking end it. I'll put it to where it go. I'll take it to the next.
But 50 saw weakness. Their image was soft, their songs were romantic. He hit with Wanksta, Back Down, and street mixtapes that mocked and dismantled their credibility. By 2003, Murder Inc. was under federal investigation. Their image was shattered, their sales collapsed, and behind it all, 50 Cent moving like a general.
One of my friends was from Basic Projects. It was Lil Troy. He actually robbed Ja for his chain. He sent his girlfriend to go talk to him. She walked into the corner and then he robbed him. I think Ja felt like I was his peer because we both wrote music and was willing to compete with me, but didn't want to compete with Troy because Troy was under circumstances where he would hurt him. So what's funny is Troy viewed me as we're peer because he knew me from before I decided to make music. So he would talk to me and come with a whole different mentality and vibe. While Ja wasn't like, he didn't come up under the same type of circumstances. He wasn't forced to actually fend for himself that early. You know, actually, he was a Jehovah's Witness. You knock on our door Saturday, try to sell us watchtowers.
But some enemies weren't on records. Some moved in shadows. Suge Knight, the death row boss, was still trying to control the West Coast. In 2003 and 2004, Suge made quiet moves, showing up at events with 30-man security teams, sending messages without speaking.
I've never seen anybody have the kind of fear that they had for Suge. Suge came around, like, in the club.
Yeah, that's the first time I seen Mexicans with tattoos on their face.
What happened? Suge came from 13th Street. He was in the Mexicans with him. He came. They looked. They said, Suge outside.
Man, everything dropped. Cameras, video people, makeup, everybody.
I was
that was crazy.
Like Suge is like a.
What'd y'all do though?
We came outside.
Open the box. They open the gun right there. The box is a gun. Come across the street. We don't understand none of that shit. I don't know what they were running for. Open the box. Get out of here. Go. With the rest of them.
Eminem came outside too.
Yeah, you know, M had a different thing going on. Like him and Proof.
Mm-hmm.
Proof cussed him out a couple times. Like sure, like seen him places and just
Yeah, recipes of Proof. He was a wild boy.
Yeah, he didn't care. Like, you know, he'd do it.
Yeah, because I think what happened was Suge tried to shake Proof hand, and Proof was like, "You said you killed Pop. Get out my face."
At the BET Awards after party in 2004, Suge entered with his crew. Most rappers would leave. 50 stayed, silent, watching, daring. He never dissed Suge directly. He didn't need to. The message was clear. I'm not afraid. Try me. Then came Jimmy Henchman, the manager of the game, a man with real ties to violence and weight in the streets. After the game's fallout with G-Unit in 2005, Henchman became 50's silent enemy. In 2007, one of 50's affiliates, Lodi Mack, assaulted Henchman's teenage son. 2009, Lodi Mack was murdered. Federal prosecutors later tied the killing directly to Henchman. By 2014, Henchman was sentenced to life in prison.
Now, you brought up Jimmy Henchman.
Yes.
Going through a tough time is the understatement. That's about as much as I could muster up to say about it. I've known Jimmy for
but
it's a tough time for him.
No matter how you look at it. Look, I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens. I don't like Supreme. I don't like Eminem. But he lived the way he actually projected himself. His lifestyle is consistent.
He was true to it.
He never ratted on nobody. Just like that. You see what I'm saying? And Jimmy's a different kind of guy. He told everybody. He solved the last 10 years of criminal activity in New York City in 10 minutes. The DA said, hold on, chill out, stop, boy, you're gonna make like that on the work. The DA asked him to stop. Stop, man. You're gonna make like we're not even working here.
January 2009, Rick Ross claimed 50 looked at him wrong at the BET Awards. 50 laughed and launched an all-out character assassination.
There's nobody in control of me. Like, I do what I want to do. So, I'm deciding to f your life. Rick, bro, I'm gonna f your life for fun.
He dropped Officer Ricky, mocking Ross's past as a correctional officer. Then he did the unthinkable. He released a video of Tia Kemp, Ross's ex, and the mother of his child, not just talking but humiliating Ross on camera.
Ross take a shot at you a couple weeks ago about a girl that you're not even with no more.
We wearing Travis Scott's all week.
Girl. What is it with you and Ross that's just been going on for so long?
Nothing else works for him outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me. It gets covered further. I get covered across the board. They get covered on the hip hop blog. It is what it is. And you watch because I have nothing else to say. You'll just see it happen periodically as it goes. You know, you see that big white elephant? That property he lives at? It costs more than the nightclubs. He's in the nightclubs. What kind of rich cut his own grass. Why you out there cutting your own grass? You trying to save money, nigga? You don't want to pay for the lawn to get cut, huh?
Ain't nothing wrong with cutting your grass.
50 pushed the line further. He filmed himself spending time with Ross's son, buying him gifts, pushing a stroller, and smirking into the camera. It was viral, it was brutal. Ross sued, then dropped the case. Meanwhile, 50 launched a YouTube series called Pimpin' Curly, mocking Ross every week. Even though Ross continued making music, the streets never forgot. The name Officer Ricky stuck. This is how 50 Cent fights. He doesn't just diss, he destroys, he exposes, he controls, he waits then strikes. For 50, war isn't about chaos. It's about order, about knowing when to strike, and where it hurts most. By 2002, 50 Cent was radioactive in New York. He had enemies on every corner. Rappers, labels, even street crews who wanted him gone. Most labels wouldn't touch him. He was considered too dangerous. But one phone call changed everything. Eminem heard 50's mixtapes and knew instantly. This was the next big thing. Eminem flew to meet him, and just days later, 50 was sitting with Dr. Dre.
How did the Eminem first encounter go?
It was wild. Remember that show that had Punk on MTV?
Yeah, Punk,
I thought they had cameras and it was gonna come out and said, you flew. When you flew me to LA, right? I came out, I was so bugged out from the experience that I came through the airport with the vest and shit on.
So I think the first time I met 50 was at a release party. Was it in New York? I think it was in New York. I met him. I think we talked in the back room, right? Every song he was doing was so crazy there was nothing to get rid of. There was nothing that we could even say, oh, that would be cool for a mixtape. I don't know if we really set out to create anything. It was more, let's just make the best music that we can make.
I get there, he's like, yo, how do you feel about this shit? Like, yo, this is gonna be the biggest, right? He's like, yo, I'm so excited, yo. Like, it made me question whether what was happening was right. It felt so good that it couldn't be like right. The first night I met him, he had an event. It was the Marshall Mathers LP just came out the first week. He sold 1.7 million records. And he was so excited about me that I'm looking like, you serious? You know what I'm saying? I know he didn't understand the severity of who I am. You know, like it's a little different. Like with me, it's like the consequences is you dead, nigga.
How much money did he give you?
I got $1 million.
Cash.
The deal with Shady Aftermath wasn't just a record deal, it was a shield. Suddenly, 50 wasn't alone. He had the two most powerful forces in rap behind him.
I'm not an angel. You know, I've done some things, and when I got shot, it was like karma. What goes around comes around. You know, I've been blessed with the opportunity to change my life. That's how I've been doing it.
In Dot Club was the first shot fired, a global hit that crushed radio and TV in 2003. It wasn't just a song, it was a declaration of war. 50 Cent had gone from a street mixtape rapper to the most feared name in music. Get Rich or Die Tryin' sold over 10 million copies worldwide, and 50 was no longer the underdog. He was the kingpin.
Is that too tough? Put some middle fingers. Everybody in this bitch.
But beyond the hits, the alliance with Eminem and Dre gave him something more important: protection. No one in the industry could bully him now. Not Suge Knight, not Murder Inc, not even the major labels.
If Jay-Z would have did a song with Ja Rule,
he would have got it like everybody else. He stayed clear of that motherfucker.
If Jay-Z would have jumped on the track with Ja, you would have went at Jay? Honestly.
Who you think Jay-Z is? This is crazy. Look, there ain't nobody.
This alliance set the stage for the next phase of 50's journey, one where he didn't just survive the rap wars but rewrote the rules of power. For 50 Cent, power isn't about money or fame. It's about control of perception, fear, and narrative. From the start, he understood that rap wasn't just music. It was psychological warfare. The less you fear, the more power you will have. That's not just a quote from his book, The 50th Law, it's the foundation of his entire career. When 50 survived 9 bullets, he killed fear. And a man without fear is dangerous. Look at how he handled Jimmy Henchman. Henchman was feared in the streets. Connected, ruthless, with a reputation for violence. When Henchman clashed with G-Unit, many expected 50 to back down. He didn't. He controlled the narrative, publicly exposing Henchman's moves and calling him out in interviews, turning the industry spotlight against him. Years later, Henchman's empire crumbled under federal charges, and 50's warnings suddenly sounded prophetic.
All he had to do was point the finger at me, and he went home. And I'm in jail for life when I never hired him to kill anyone. So, you know.
Oh, gee, Jimmy the Rat.
With Rick Ross, 50's control was even more surgical. He didn't just diss Ross. He dismantled his credibility by revealing his past as a correctional officer. Ross tried to fight back with music, but 50 controlled the headlines, the memes, the internet. It was a masterclass in psychological warfare.
But you haven't destroyed Rick Ross's career.
What's Rick Ross' last album? Triple C's. You know how many copies that record sold?
No.
4,000 copies. What is destroyed? Fat Joe's
but that's a
last
group album. That's not a Rick Ross
Fat Joe's
album.
last album sold 8,300 copies. This is what happens.
That's
The
another one,
damage-
you punching below your weight.
No. This is me fighting the fighters that are challenging me. Because you went to the gym the first few days and the coach called you champ, don't mean you ready to fight Floyd Mayweather. Do you understand? So if they come prematurely, I'll finish them now before they can even get good enough.
But 50's ability to dominate isn't just about enemies. It's how he frames himself. He never plays the victim. He always appears 2 steps ahead, like a chess player moving pieces before anyone else sees the game.
Nah, son, you gotta be 3 moves ahead. Checkmate.
The truth is, 50 doesn't just fight battles, he engineers them. He provokes, manipulates, and dominates, always dictating the terms. Most rappers rise, fall, and disappear. 50 Cent rewrote the script. He didn't just survive the streets and the industry, he outplayed both. After the chaos of the mid-2000s, 50 made a move no one expected. Instead of chasing trends or radio hits, he shifted his focus to business. His $100 million deal with Vitamin Water wasn't luck, it was strategy.
Vitamin one thing, I didn't need the money. If you told them you don't have to give me that money, that I'll take the equity on the back end when it sells, when the real money comes, they'll go, yeah. Because at that point, the equity that you have in it, like Vitamin Water, they had employees that they had provided stock options for. And working class folks live in the now. So if they say, wait, so that imaginary stock you gave me that I can't keep count of because it's not going into my bank account, you saying you give me how much for that right now and I can move and Junior can have his own room and I can go get the car I want and everything right now? And they sold me pieces of it. The people that they already, after I had what was in the deal, I picked up a few pieces from people who had some of their shares. So that was a really good deal.
He turned a small investment into a generational move, proving that his street hustle translated into corporate power. Then came Hollywood. He created power, not just as an actor but as an executive producer. He followed it with BMF and other projects, building an empire that kept him relevant long after most of his peers faded. 50 didn't need chart hits. He had control of entire TV franchises. He's no longer competing with rappers. He's competing with time and winning. While others gamble with scandals, 50 remains a businessman, a storyteller, and a cultural force. This isn't a comeback story. It's a story of someone who never left, because he played the game better than anyone else.
He was there before I got there.
On the plane?
Yeah.
Man, so do y'all see each other?
Not, like, I saw him. Yeah, we sat right in first class. Like, he sat on the other side, like by the window. So somebody sitting at the actual edge of it. See, and then I sat down and I kept getting up and moving around and things.
Seeing if anything would happen.
No, just making me uncomfortable because I knew that he was by himself.
50 Cent is not just a survivor. He's the last warrior of an era where the streets ruled the music industry. He came from a world where a single mistake could mean death, where fear was a currency, but he learned to kill fear and turn it into power. While others chased fame, 50 chased control. Every beef, every move, every business deal was part of a bigger strategy. He didn't just make hits, he built empires. From Get Rich or Die Trying to Power, from Vitamin Water to his current television dynasty, 50 shows that real dominance isn't about one moment. It's about staying untouchable. And today, as Diddy, once one of the most powerful names in music, faces the collapse of his empire under federal raids and lawsuits, 50 Cent stands apart. He isn't part of the scandals, the whispers, or the chaos. He's the one calling it out. In the end, 50 didn't fall off. He didn't fade away. He outplayed the game and won. Because when the dust settles, legends don't die. Warriors don't retreat. They adapt, evolve, and rule.